This is a 2020 something Charger, I guess. It's only got 9,000 miles on it, so it's probably pretty new. I've driven a few of these at this point. This is a rental. It's got a V6. I've driven the Chrysler version. I've driven the V8 version. To be honest, I always kind of come away from driving these kind of underwhelmed. I go in expecting like, oh, it's the last big American rear-wheel drive sedan, and expecting it to like really be something kind of special. And every time I drive one of these, I'm reminded, and I've been driving this one all week, I'm reminded they're kind of not really anything special. Pros, it looks good, looks really good. And from the driver's seat, you see that big bulge in the hood? That's kind of neat, just kind of as a reminder that this thing is very like, I don't know, bulgy and masculine and aggressive looking. And yeah, if you drive this thing around, people will, I mean, you pretty much get respect, right? People will stay out of your way. People won't really question you. And I mean, yeah, it's just a decent looking car. People like them. People drive them pretty much for that reason. From a driving perspective. Pros. So every time, this is a nice Cadillac, right? Braking. Every time I drive one of these, I'm impressed how good the brakes are. Cons. Well, the only pro I had was braking, right? So, the engine is fine. It's a V6. It exists, I guess. I mean, I wish it no harm. Everything else is, I guess it's totally existent. The steering is too heavy. Does not need to be so heavy. It'd be an easier car to drive if the steering was not ridiculously like over like faux sports car, super heavy. The suspension is the exact same way. It's too firm. Steering's too firm. Suspension's too firm. This car drives really big. It drives like a big car. It's hard to park. It feels like it takes up all of the space between the mustard and the mayo. The steering is not particularly precise or communicative or anything like that. It's not a car that's got what you would call great dynamics. It does have a tremendous amount of grip. Yeah, I mean, it absolutely holds the road very well when you go into a corner, but it's just not, this is not a chassis, in spite of the fact that it's rear-wheel drive, yes, all the above. It's not a thing with a particularly communicative driving experience or a particularly special ride and handling balance. Take just yesterday afternoon, I was riding around in a Honda Accord for a few miles, somebody else's car, and like, after being in this thing all week, this was like a 2013 Accord. This is not a new car. And I got into that Accord and I was like, oh my God, this thing rides just like a masterpiece. And this Charger is not really, it's not really a masterpiece. These are rubbery cars. They're big, these cars are big rubbery blocks. The Chrysler version, the Dodge version, doesn't matter. The ride is rubbery, the steering wheel feels rubbery, the dashboard feels rubbery. Just kind of everything about this car and its motions and its being and its mannerisms and its ways, it's just a big block of rubber. It's not sophisticated, it's not really refined. Like I said, it looks really good and the brakes are good. Everything else, there's chintziness. This is, at the end of the day, a Chrysler. First off, I just want to state for the record, I've said it before, I've said it again, I hate black interiors. Black is an interior color. No car should have a full black interior. It just doesn't. It's dark, it's cheap looking, it's not, it shows dirt really easily. It's just not a great choice. And this car has got a very Chrysler interior. I mean, it reminds me of like Chrysler minivans I rode in 20 years ago. The materials are kind of, they're just Chrysler. And then like, you notice things like the door hinges, the doors, the little stays on the hinges, like when you try to open this in a parking lot, it doesn't want to stay open because it's like the pawls or whatever you call them, in the hinges are just kind of cheaply made, I guess. Yeah, that's about all I got to say for her. Oh yeah, and the ergonomics. I'm not wild about the ergonomics of this thing. For some reason, my upper body is just not at ease in this car. It's like I don't have enough back support, or something about the placement of the wheel kind of causes me to twist my body out of alignment. I'm not really sure. It's just something about the ergonomics is just not quite there. It's not particularly well packaged. I mean, it's definitely a big car, and I guess it's big on the inside, but it's not like super huge and spacious. I think that that's about all I have to say about it. It looks good. I really, really like the way these things look. I like the way they look. I respect that they come with rear-wheel drive, even though you don't really get a whole ton for it aside from V8 ability. I've driven the V8. The V8 is very fast, but then again, because this car is so, big and rubbery and not really, a driver's car is not really that communicative. Yes, you have a V8, and yes, your speedometer needle will go very high, but will you actually really feel a whole lot about it? Not so much. Even the V8 that I drove, the one thing that impressed me about the driving experience was the damn brakes. These things they brake good. They got strong brakes. You can't lie about that. I like that these exist. I'm glad they exist. They're a unique offering in the market. Big rear-wheel drive American sedan, last of a breed in a way. It'll be sad when they go. They come with a V8. They're derived from some sort of... They've got some old Mercedes components, which is kind of just a neat twist to the story of, how this thing came about technologically. But I'll never own one. I guess I could really leave it at that.